Okay, welcome. Today what we're going to do is create a selection using the magnetic lasso and the pen tool. So the combination between those two tools, we're going to make a selection. So in this image, what I want to do is separate my grandson flying through the air, take him out of the background. I could use the pen tool to trace over my grandson and make that selection, but that would take a little bit of time. So I'm going to come over to the pen tool and select the pen tool and just show you start with that. Get the pen tool selected. Want to zoom up on that. Again, I'm going to hit the Z key to zoom up. Come back to the pen tool. The quick button for that would be P. So if I want to start drawing, I'm going to come to here to my create a new layer for the pen tool. I went down here, create a new path. Creates a path here. Have my pen tool, and I'm going to start selecting, and I'm going to curve. I'm pulling out the handles as I'm drawing. And I don't have to worry about it being perfect right now because with the pen tool, it's nice we can come back and do some editing afterwards. We don't have to edit it as we draw. And I could do this, and I'm just going to come around to his head here for a second. Doing it this way, it does take some time. It's an accurate way of doing it, and you'll get a nice finished selection, nice accurate selection, but it does take some time to do it that way. So what I'm going to show you is how we can do it combination using the magnetic lasso, which is this tool selected in these tools with a lasso, polygonal lasso, and the magnetic lasso. So I'm going to take that. What I'm going to do is this path is delete that path. Hit the garbage can, delete that. Now I'm going to use my magnetic lasso and come to this face here. And it works well for an image like this because I have high contrast between the character and the background. And I'm just going to trace along here the outside edge of his head. I'm not worrying about all the points it's going to put in. It will refine that as I come in. So I just want to trace as well as I can. Again, what I'm going to end up doing is tracing it with the magnetic lasso. And then I'm going to convert this selection to a path. And we'll go through that in a minute. Now as I come down here on the character, I'm going to hold my space bar to turn my tool into the hand move tool, release the space bar, and it's back into the magnetic lasso. Come down here, try to get this foot that's tucked behind the body, and I got a little bit more of the fence that I wanted. I'm not worrying about that right now because I'm going to show you how we can edit this fairly quickly with the pen tool. Now the pen tool is a nice accurate tool. It takes a little bit to get used to, and it does take a little time to do a good job to get the nice outline that you want. But I think the combination between these two tools really could go faster. So if I was tracing this with a pen tool, doing what I'm doing right now would take me much longer time. So now I come to the end and I get that little circle that's kind of by his lips there, and I let go and I have selection. Now you can see it's not a perfect selection. That's okay. Again, we're going to edit this as we come into it. So what I want to do is go to my background, to my paths layer. So here's my layer, and that's my background. It's where we're at there. Turn that on and off. Let me here. Okay, go to paths, and down here at the bottom of the paths, I have make work path from selection. That's this icon down here at the bottom. I'm going to select that. And what it's done is turn that selection into a work path. Now I can start editing it and trying to get it to follow the body a little closer. And yeah, it's going to take some time, but it's going to go pretty quick also. So to see that, I'm going to come over here to my selection, direct selection tool A. And in here, there's two arrows. There's the black arrow, which is the path selection tool. If I use that arrow, the black arrow, I select, it selects the whole path and it enables me to move the whole path. But I don't want to do that, so I'm going to hit Control Z, push it back. To edit each of the individual points, I want to use the direct selection tool, which is the white arrow. So with that, I click here. I want to click off there and then click back. Then I can maneuver each of these points to where I want. Now you can see these have handles on them, called Bezier handles, and I'm going to be able to maneuver those to where I want them also. Now, when I'm doing this, I'm going to be switching between the direct selection tool, this white arrow, and my pen tool. I might have to add some points or delete some points. So I'll be using my quick keys to do that. Now, right here, when I move this handle, you'll see, okay, it moves one at a time. Sometimes it moves one at a time, sometimes it'll move them both, but this time it's moving the one, which is good. I'm going to zoom in so I can see up on his ear and see this a little closer. And again, to maneuver around the image, I'm holding my space bar to create the hand, and then I can maneuver around. So now I was in the zoom mode. I want to switch to the A key. That will reselect the direct selection arrow. So the A key comes here, and I'm going to put that in there. Now I have this going on with his ear here. And what I want to do is add a point in there. When you do it with the pen points, the least amount of points, the better that you can get through with it. But so I'm going to hit P for the pen tool. Turns in, you see at that plus mark as I hover over to my vector line. So I hit plus. Now what I want to do is switch back to the A tool with my key. So I hit back to A, get my white selection, and I'm going to bring it down to the bottom of his ear here. Grab the handle, and now both those handles are moving now. So adjust this here. Now I want just the one side to move. I'm going to hold the Alt key. I get that little plus sign there, and I can kind of shape in his ear here. Pull that down, pull that around, bring this down maybe a little bit. And I might need to add some arrows in here. So I'll go there. So bring this up. And look in here, look, I've added another point, so I'm going to go back to the P key, plus add a point. Now I'm going to have to switch back to the A key, so I can move that point in here. And you can see you can get very accurate with that tracing. Now I want to put a point in there real quick, hit a P, switch back to A, bring that down here, come back to here, and I'm moving both sides. Now I want to move just this one side. I'm holding the Alt key. I can come up here. Now we've got a lot of curves going on in the shirt area. I'm going to add a point in there. Back to A. So I'm going from P to A. So we got the A key enables me to go and hold the Alt key to move just to one side. Now I could come in here. Another point up here. Though, so I'm moving along the image, and you can see that it is getting a nice outline, tracing the image. Yes, it does take time. It's not magic. You have to put the effort into it. But doing it this way, you're going to get a much more accurate tracing outline of your subject. And come in here. All right, I'm going to put another point. Again, I'm trying to do it with the least amount of points. I don't mind adding points, but I'm hitting the P, back to the A key. So you're switching between those two keys. Hold Alt. And to watch somebody do this, it could be watch paint dry. So make sure I just get one side. I'm holding the Alt key. Pull this out a little bit. And I got this curve in here. If I want to put another point in there, let's see what that does. Back to the A. So the P puts the point in. The A. Space bar brings up our hand. Let's come down to his hand. P for point. A to adjust it. It gets a little fuzzy in here. What's what? I'm going to add a point to fill this in here. Back to A. So I'm going to go through and trace this up, and then we'll come back and see how it looks at that point. We can see it's a matter of maneuvering the points, adding a point, adjusting them, using that A key. And so moving it, I'm going to want to move just this handle. I'm holding the Alt key now. Trying to come in here. And I'm probably going to add another point in there. But even when you're tracing it, you're not sure if you're putting in all the points. So by tracing it with the magnetic lasso first, I was able to get a rough outline in there, and now I'm doing the fine tuning. And yes, the fine tuning will take some time to do it nicely. Going back, you get used to going back and forth between the P key and the A key. The P key will add a point, and the A key will enable you to adjust the points. All right. So before I go much further on the P key, back to the A key here, I am going to end this part one, and then we'll come back to it in a few minutes.